How we doing, folks? Well, this lawnmower has been a visitor to my garage in the past, and I gave it a service then. At the time I replaced the pull cord, but at the moment there's a running issue with it, and basically what's reported is that it keeps cutting out, so I haven't actually started it yet, so let's have a look and see if we can figure it out. Given that it's a really nice day out today, decided that it would be nice to do this work outside, so yeah, why not? So let's see if it starts and see what's actually happening. So first of all, we're going to prime it. Right. Definitely a problem there anyway. Let's have a look and see what the spark is like. We'll take the spark plug out. So yeah, pop that off. Oof. That's not looking too bright, is it? There you go. That's pretty grubby. Okay, I'm gonna pop into my garage and give that a clean to start with anyway. It smells like oil and unburnt petrol now. Personally, I think this lawnmower could be getting a bit on the tired side of things. I know it's certainly getting plenty of use, that's for sure. So yeah, let's clean the spark plug and see how we get on from there. Maybe that's all it needs. Okay, so I have the spark plug nice and clean there now anyway, but before we go any further, I want to do a compression test on this because it just seems like the engine is the same as the one that I have in my own lawnmower, and it seems an awful lot easier to pull the cord. So I would suspect that maybe the compression is down on this. Just thread that lad in there. Hmm. 40. It's not all compression anyway, so that's certainly a problem. I'd say this engine is fairly tired now at this stage, but let's see if we can get it to run again for him anyway. Okay, I don't think for a second that the only problem was a dirty spark plug. I think that's the symptom rather than the problem. So let's just start trying to start it again now. The spark plug is back in, so we'll see if it runs at all. That answers that question. Alright, let's pop the air filter off. And the fact that it's like a solid turf is certainly not helping the matter. It's full of grass. I'll blow that out afterwards. Take that out anyway for a moment. And what we'll do is we'll actually have a look in the float bowl. We're going to need to take the jet out of this. I think actually what's causing the problem is a blocked jet. So what's involved in that? Yeah, we'll take the note off there. So if you guys have a look in here, you'll see that up inside in there is a little bowl, and in the middle of that is a little bolt which holds the bowl on. So we need to take that bowl off and see how we go from there. And it's probably, to be honest with you, it's probably full of crud, and I have a funny feeling I'm going to be taking the whole carburetor off this. So let's get a suitable size socket. Take that out first of all. So I'm hoping to see that this is full of crud, because that answers the question as to what's causing the problem. There's a little nice little bolt. That actually that forms the pickup point for the fuel as well too, on the bottom of the float bowl. So you'll see there's actually a hole in the side of it, and the fuel comes out through the centre. So just pull the float bowl off and drops down. Definitely a bit of sediment in there. It's not too bad, but some fairly big bits. That's what would concern me. So we'll empty that out for the moment anyway. I'll get a cloth and wipe it now in a minute. Looks alright, but what we need to do is we need to take that jet out of the middle of the carb. So let's start getting a few more bits taken off here. So the first thing we need to do is take off the complete air cleaner assembly. Ah, shit. Yeah, right. There's just three bolts here that just need to be removed. Okay, so pop that out there. Okay, now you'll see in there there's a little breather pipe there on the that comes into this filter as well too, just for crankcase ventilation. Put that aside as well too there now, and I need to take that fuel line off. The fuel line is just basically in there, and you just basically squeeze the little clip, slide it back, and you should be able to get the carb off. So. Obviously you can't get the carb off yet, I mean there's still a bit more to go, look. It's not the point I was trying to make. Okay. So there you go, so that's that out of the way. Now in there are two bolts holding the carb on. The carb in these is very simple, a simple type of setup. But still though, it needs to be clean like any other carburetor. So we'll get our 8mm 10mm sockets. And we will okay. Okay, that's really out now. And hopefully we won't have to take off the accelerator cable. Now, I don't know, I think we will. Let's have a quick look and see. Yeah, there was another bolt there, that's all it was. I think actually one of the bolts I removed I didn't need to remove, but anyway. Bit of a voyage of discovery. I am not a lawnmower repairman by trade, so we shall persevere. Okay, so there you go, so that's that off. And, oh, handy. So the accelerator linkage just hooks into there. and so that's come off very easily for us. So now, how do we get access to our jets? First of all, the state of this thing is never going to run right with a carb that dirty, so I'm going to bring it out to the garage and I'm actually going to give that a proper clean up first of all, and we'll go from there. Okay, this is looking a lot better now actually. Just a little bit of a going over with some brake cleaner and a toothbrush, and what I did was I blew out all the jets, and one of the things you do is if you take the carb and just blow through the that's the fuel inlet there, right? So let the float hang down, and if you see, you can blow through it, but if you push it up while you're blowing it, that has to stop. Okay, so if it doesn't stop, basically what that means is your needle valve isn't seating correctly. You also need to make sure that there's no petrol inside in that float, because that would mean that it's not going to float and is of no use to anybody. But yeah, I think what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and refit that now and see if we have any success. I'm just looking though, actually. It's a weird setup because there's no gasket as such in there. It's actually just I'll show you now, you can't see much. It's an O-ring. No, that's grand. I mean, in fairness, it works fine. But yeah, anyway, just a little thing I noticed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the float bowl back on. Okay, so that goes on there now. I live in a housing estate, by the way, hence why you can hear neighbours and that around the place. Now we need to make sure that this is clear as well too. So take the little fibre gasket off, and we're going to just try and blow through this. That's fine. Yeah, we can blow through that. So we'll pop our fibre gasket back on there, and we will do that up. And that was, I think it was actually 12mm. I got it with 13mm, but oh, it is 13mm. There you go. There we go. Now. Alright. Just a little nip, you don't need to stitch it. So that's the carb back together again. So we'll reattach our throttle linkage. Just take some of the grass off out of there. I'm really just doing the kind of the necessary stuff on this. I'm not going to get into kind of doing a full service on it, in fairness. Like, it's, you know, you could go down that route, but maybe if it was my own lawnmower I might, but in this instance I'm not going to. Okay, so that's that. Anyway, I actually did do an oil change on it there not so long ago. Right, so there are two bolts here. These are little 10mm jobs. Pop them in there and there. Actually, a second now. Okay, so just before I put the carb on itself, I'm just putting that bolt back in that I removed in error. The bolt is like it's for the bracketry that holds on the flywheel brake, I think. Now, okay, one of the health and safety requirements that was put in for lawnmowers many years ago was that they had a method that the blade would stop turning in less than, I think it's like 4 seconds or something like that. It was a US regulation, but I mean, most like Briggs Stratton are an American company, so you'll see that flywheel brake on a lot of lawnmowers that aren't even Briggs Stratton as well too. I think it's a good idea personally. Bit of a pain in the face sometimes now, mind you. You kind of when you want to leave the lawnmower running, even though you're not at the handle, but. Alright, so what we'll do now is nip them up, and we shall reattach our fuel line. And it's entirely possible that the fuel is dirty, so we may actually have to drain the fuel tank. That's not a big problem though. I did look in the fuel tank and I didn't see anything untoward. There's a little spring clip there on now, so that's back together. Really is nothing to these things, you know. I mean, they're very, very simple. So what we'll do is we'll take the vice grips off. And we will press the. We can't press the priming bulb because it's actually on the it's on the cover here. So I'm not entirely sure how the priming bulb works. I think it actually just maybe it puts air pressure in through the float bowl. Actually, that would make sense. Yeah, it's like a little air channel actually that comes up through here to this point here, and it puts pressure in the float bowl and pushes fuel up through the jet. So look, we'll stick it back on. May as well at this stage. Okay, so there are 3 screws holding on. So okay, so go there first of all, and these 2 little lads here. They're an 8mm. I'm going to run it without the air filter for a second. I actually haven't cleaned the air filter yet. I'm not going to be replacing it. I don't have a spare one anyway. Okay, now, so that's that. So now what we will do is we will prime it. So, oh yeah, look, there you go. Fuel pumping out all over the place. Right, so that's a good couple of shots of fuel, and we're going to move you guys back and we'll try and start it. Okay, success, folks. So yeah, it seemed to be just a blocked jet. So usually it's a case with these type of lawnmowers and that as well too, that when they're starting and cutting out, you have a spark, and it's just a case of, you know, cleaning out the carb. But to be fair though, this is a tired engine, so yeah, it's going to need to be kind of nursed along a little bit more. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to get that air filter cleaned out and refitted, and I will drop it back into the neighbour who dropped it into me, and I'm sure he will be delighted with himself. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.